And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. And Laker fans will be somewhat familiar with what I'm going to drop on the Pop Culture Cosmos tomorrow morning, because that's going to be an NBA season preview, taking a look at some of the great interviews I've had with samples of each over the course of the past couple months. You get the chance to compile that. So if you get a refresher course of that, it's on the Pop Culture Cosmos starting tomorrow on the Pop Culture Cosmos podcast networks and on radio stations worldwide. Also, as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Joe Soro and I will be doing this week's episode. Chris Ardieri is on vacation, so I will be talking with Joe. I'm sure he's got much to say about the season debut of Russell Wilson with Pitt, and also we'll look at NFL Week 8 and more, and we'll talk about what's going on with the world of fantasy football right here at Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Also, as well, of course, Empire Jeff TV. He was talking the Dodgers with their great victory today, headed to the World Series. He had Joe on the show. So go ahead and check out his channel whenever you can. Also, as well, Lakers in 5, of course. Also, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Also, as well, of course, the John McCalian channel. All these great channels, please support. And don't forget John Constance Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner, which you're watching me right now on. Please go ahead and like and subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest shows on all these great channels. And of course, subscribe to the Lakers Fast Break podcast as well. And become a member today for just $2.99 a month. You get emojis, you get badges, you get special inside stuff I don't get to everyone else until a little bit later on, including all of our season predictions from all of our members of our panel, except for one notable exception, rhymes with zero. Well, kind of rhymes with zero, but we won't say who that is. I haven't received his yet, but I did get almost everyone else's, and I did drop it for our members. And everybody else will be getting it a little bit later on here in the coming days. But for our members, you can watch and look at all of them, including mine, as far as the members. Plus, I just dropped a big article with the Lakers preview for members only. $2.99 a month brings you all that and more right there at the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. The Dodgers are headed to the World Series to face off against the New York Yankees coming up later this week on Friday. And while all eyes are looking in the one direction, as far as from the baseball world, on this huge World Series with the Dodgers and Yankees, after so many years not being able to face off, finally getting that opportunity under the bright lights in both of LA and New York. What we have right now is our attention will be turning to Tuesday and opening night of the Lakers coming up here. But the question remains, with the Lakers heading into an uncertain season coming up. With the success of the Los Angeles Dodgers, LA fans are going to be asking, can the Lakers find a way to go ahead and find the same success and the same path to success as the Dodgers? We'll talk about that on today's show. Do want to mention a couple notes before we head into the show itself. Tomorrow, we have a huge season preview extravaganza scheduled at 4 p.m. They're going to go 2+ hours for you, talking about what's going on with the NBA. Plus, we'll have our live fantasy basketball draft on the air so you can see our picks as they come across the screen. If you are interested in joining said fantasy basketball draft, it's in the description below, the link there. We still have some spots available. The draft is tomorrow night, 5:30 p.m. Pacific and also 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So go ahead and join us. Facebook, give you a shout out. What's going on? How you doing? Great to have you here. Looking forward to a great conversation tonight. Hopefully, Joe, I have notified him. He knows I'm going on late. So hopefully he will be joining us here in a minute. And hopefully we'll be wrapping up things pretty soon with Empire Jeff, but you know him. He loves to talk. And there you go. But Felix, great to have you here, my friend. You have not watched any Lakers. Focus on the Dodgers. I understand. Your Raiders are still horrible. Yes, they are. They lost they lost in Inglewood earlier today. But yes, the Dodgers are headed to the World Series. Congratulations to you, Felix, and to all Dodgers fans. Want to go ahead and if you remember, as Felix has, 2020 was the year. Of course, a lot of bad things happened as far as 2020, but two good things for the city of Los Angeles was the Dodgers and the Lakers winning their respective world championships. And with that, again, with the Dodgers 4 wins away from a world title, can the Lakers find and muster up whatever they can to go ahead and get to that plateau again, or at least get within a fighting distance of that? We'll see what happens. CB, what's up? I got to ask you, CB, because I know 7 grand in the chat and truly appreciate the super chat, 7 grand. He watched Smile 2 this weekend, which was the #1 movie at the box office, over $20 million. Kudos to Smile 2, a relatively inexpensive film, pretty much assuring a Smile 3 will be around the corner at some point in time. Who in the heck, cool bro, took you to go see Terrifier 3? Because you're not supposed to see it unless you have accompanied by an adult. I just looked it up earlier when you messaged me that you watched Terrifier 3. Who took you to watch Terrifier 3? It's amazing. But Ralph says, I'm going to go Tuesday to watch Smile 2. No spoilers, please. Terrifier 3 was a great film. You horror fanatics out there, it sounds like we got some horror fanatics out there. And as far as in the chat, always good to see. The horror genre is the backbone of the movie industry because low cost and a lot of times some high returns. Yes, that's how gruesome it was, Ralph. They didn't even try to ask an MPAA for the rating, but you could still, it's not treated like it has NC-17. It was treated more like, yes, no rating at all, but you do need it to have to be accompanied by an adult. I thought it was 18 only, but yes, you could be accompanied by an adult to go see it. So, yes. Felix says, what people don't understand, the Dodgers have been planning World Series all year long. Think about it. We have a target on our back all season long. It started the second the Dodgers signed Ohtani to that $700 million deal. And that's where we're at. This is the start of the returns for it. I'm hoping for you Dodgers fans out there, and I'm now slowly coming back into the Dodgers fold, that the Dodgers will get a good return on their investment with Yamamoto and, of course, Shohei Ohtani indeed. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Ralph D said Terrifier 3 was a $2 million budget with an $18 million worldwide opening film weekend debut. That is correct. Congrats to Terrifier. Actually, took 3rd place, if I remember correctly, but still only 50% loss and 50% drop in its second week, which is a relatively good drop and shows that people are still wanting to watch this movies. Yes, some good words indeed. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. It is a lot of gore, 7 grand. If you're not into that stuff, yeah, I don't suggest Smile 2, and I don't suggest especially Terrifier 3. But let's go. Xbox, great to have you here. It is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching and listening. Hopefully Joe will join us. I have texted him. I messaged him. He's acknowledged. So let's hope he stops on by. But if he doesn't, we're always glad to have you here. Wanted to go ahead and mention this because it is, again, the Dodgers heading to the World Series. But can the Lakers, with what they have and what they are going to go ahead and do this upcoming season, do they have what it takes? I mean, the most optimistic of our Lakers fans in the chat have said that a 50-win season is possible, have said that they do have a fighting chance. Laker Tom on Saturday said JJ Redick is the next Pat Riley and that the Lakers have a fighting shot at a world champions. So we'll see what happens. Yes, uh, to those, Gustavo, we mentioned it as it happened live on the air as far as the announcement that was made. Yes, Quincy Olivari has been signed to a two-way contract, and Colin Castleton was waived, so he is now a free agent. Probably going to sign on somewhere else. I wish him all the best. Unfortunately, it did not work out. And the promise that many people hoped he would have, unfortunately, did not materialize. So we'll wait and see. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Cool Bro says, let's go Lakers. There you go, Cool Bro. Your Rams won, so I'm happy for you on that. I'm glad you're got that win. Ralph D said, I hit the like button before you even started watching the LFP video. Thank you so much, Ralph. I truly appreciate it. Cool Bro says, shout out to Daniel Barry. He stopped by my stream today. Daniel Barry's the best. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights, if you're out there, he's got thousands of subscribers, but he always needs more. He is a great supporter of a lot of this Laker channels, including us and also Cool Bro as well. NBA 003, did Castleton wave back? Yes, he might have waved bye-bye and might have waved thank you, but he is no longer part of the Lakers organization after he got cut yesterday. And Quincy Olivari was replaced him on the two-way. So we will see what happens as far as what's going on with the Lakers. But again, bringing it to the Lakers and all as far as what their outlook is like for this season, I will go into it extensively tomorrow because we do have a huge NBA season preview for you coming up tomorrow. John Costa is committed to joining me. I don't know how for how long. I'm going to try and get some more guests in here as they speak, and maybe even Joe for a time on that because his mind will be more focused on Lakers basketball at that time because he has several days to think about what the Dodgers will do coming up in the World Series. But with that, the Lakers season starts Tuesday. The mission begins again for us Lakers fans to hope and pray that the Lakers will find their way to a world championship. And if with that, a lot is riding on the health of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And I know that's not, I don't know, that's a no brainer. But as I mentioned in my season preview, a lot, of course, relies on it. But if they get the constant health because they feel good coming into the season, they obviously are in top shape coming off the Olympics. They looked primed and ready to go in preseason. So with that, they could start off the season strong. They could really help JJ find his footing as far as the coaching staff by really early providing the pressure early on over some of these teams who may get off to a sluggish start. If that's the case, the Lakers get off to a good start. That will help them be able to get where they need to go. Okay, Xbox. All right. Did we get help from the point guard area? Well, it depends on what you're asking for, Felix, because when it comes to point guard help, right now their backup point guard is Gabe Vincent. JHS, Jalen Hood-Schifino, last year's first-round pick, has not looked good at all in the preseason. It's been very disappointing to see that he has not progressed. I know a lot of people out there are deciding who was worse this preseason. Was it Bronny or was it JHS or was it Maxwell Lewis? Because all three of those individuals looked really bad this preseason. Quincy Olivari does have a little bit of handle. He also is able to go ahead and facilitate from what we've seen. But as a two-way player, he's going to be limited on the number of games he can play. And also because he's a rookie, he's also going to be not hauled upon as much as a lot of people would like to see him early on because of a rookie factor. And the fact is that the NBA coaching fraternity usually does not like to rely on rookies right away. There are obviously isolated cases, like for instance in Memphis, where Zach Edey, boom, from the get-go was their starting center, but it's not quite often where a team early on will let the rookies get a substantial amount of playing time. They'll usually get even if for the best ones, they'll usually get early on, and then it'll grow and it'll grow. And as they get more acclimated, they'll get even more and more time. But he is here now. It is a very happy man indeed. He just got off a session with Empire Jeff TV. It is, of course, the happy Dodgers fan indeed. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, today's topic is, with the Dodgers achieving the success of heading to the World Series, I know your one-word answer already before I even ask it. Can the Lakers find any way possible to follow suit in a similar fashion in the NBA this season?
No.
Yeah, I knew that one-word answer.
Not even close. When you talk about organizationally, we're talking the cast is Caston, Gomez, Friedman. You're talking about the pillar of functionality, and you factor that in with this group of players who are locked in, focused on the task at hand with all the stuff going on, and then you have one of the best managing runs I've seen in a playoff run that I've ever seen. You have all that, and you win 4 more games here. Yeah, you're talking about the Lakers during their three-peat, during their back-to-back title time, on what Kupchak did, what Jerry West did. Those guys do not exist with the LA Lakers right now, not even close. Jeannie runs her operation much like, what's a good example?
You set yourself up for that one, and I was like, hey, that's a good, yeah, let's go. Can't wait for it.
Because I'm not gonna say she runs her operation like Donald Sterling. He didn't know what the hell he was doing, and he was a scumbag. I'd say more like Milwaukee Bucks the last few years, where they're catered to the stars so much that it's been a hindrance to the team. And the only difference, and that's the owner's side. As far as the GM side, they're not as good as even Milwaukee Bucks management, because Rob Pelinka can't pull his head out of his ass to do even something simple anymore. It's just that's not their focus. It's not LeBron James's focus to win. And you'll get arguments by all 40 billion of his fans and just, yeah. Well, guys, I look at your actions. I don't look at what people say. I don't give a shit what people say. I look at what you do. If this team was really about winning championships, trying to win at least, they don't make 90% of the stuff that they do now. They would have done other things. Am I wrong?
No, I didn't say you were.
It's what they're doing. It's not based off of my opinion. And the fact that Laker fans are sitting here waiting for guys like Jared Vanderbilt to come back, or Christian Wood, this is how desperate the fan base gets. This isn't an isolated situation. Laker fans, and I'm sure all fans are like this to a degree, they're so delusional on the actual talent of certain players. Oh, this guy's going to do this. Oh, this guy's going to do that. No more. Jared Vanderbilt was healthy during the 2023 playoff run against Denver. What happened there? He was rendered useless. So what exactly are you talking about? Why is Jared Vanderbilt going to save the day? I heard that all year last year. What is D'Angelo Russell going to do to save the day? He should play better in the playoffs. He doesn't. You notice I don't really talk much about D'Angelo Russell. Matter of fact, I probably sound like a guy that supports him. Right? Right?
Yes.
This last year, remember I said they have to sign him? You know why, guys? Because we got no one else to get. At least he can hit a shot. one of every 3 days. What else are you going to do? Depend on Gabe Vincent or some Oliveri guy out of nowhere? You're stuck. You have no choice. You've put yourselves in that position. The Lakers are dependent on ifs.
A lot of ifs.
Ifs. That's all it is. Ifs, ifs, ifs. My really good friends at Lakers ball today, one of them, I was scorched earth when I found out that the Lakers signed Timothy Mozgov, and he was in support of it. And he saw what happened there. And he's very supportive and very positive about what's going on now, to be positive, not really with any substance. And I told him, I said, listen, LT, his name is LT. I said, LT, I'm going to do you a favor, because he said, if this team ends up playing well and healthy, and well, would you eat crow? I said, look, that's a cliche. Okay, no one eats a crow. But I will tell you this. I'll eat black olives. It's the first thing I thought of. Black, something I can't stand to eat. I told him I'd eat black olives if they end up winning. That's the definition of a real black crow, like eating something that you don't, that for screwing up. I just thought of it. I know it's stupid, but I don't understand, guys. I don't understand how anyone with any focus on what's smart. I don't know how you can look at this team and go, "Oh, this team's going to do well." I don't understand it. No one's been able to make it make sense. All I've heard is if they stay healthy, and when Jared Vanderbilt comes back, and when this and when this and when this. I said, what about Tuesday? These guys are going to play a moron. A guy has no business in the league. That's what they're focused on. They're not focused on winning. The Dodgers were focused on winning. All you have to do is watch today. All you heard from Joe Davis and John Schmaltz. I didn't make a mistake when I called him Schmaltz. I like Schmaltz. I think his color is amazing when it comes to baseball.
He's usually pretty good, Joe.
But this last few games, oh my God.
Let me ask you this.
If I had to hear about the Mets and how great they are since June over and over and over again. I mean, he was practically climaxing over a foul ball catch. Dude, shut up.
Let me ask you this, Joe. In the 6th inning with the bases loaded, how nervous were you?
I was nervous for this game from the beginning. Okay. I was nervous because it was a bullpen game, and it was more about I really want what's worked with the bullpen game to work and be a stamp for Doc. Because I've been hard on him, and there's a lot of guys that have been on him. Matter of fact, there were morons who were calling for his stupidity again with both losses, not realizing that idiots, this is different than taking out Rich Hill too early or putting in Kershaw when you shouldn't. He has no choice. He doesn't have an ace. Yamamoto is not an ace yet. Buehler is battling as anybody could battle in terms of sports. The guy's absolutely battling. Jack is not an ace. He's barely a 2. And look what this guy's doing with this Band-Aid pitching staff. And I wanted him to be validated for it again. He did it twice in really, really big games. The closeout game, and he did it in San Diego when San Diego had all the momentum. You have to praise people when they do things right. It's not fair.
Che's asking Yamamoto game 1, Buehler game 2, and Flattery, who got lit up in game 3.
I would if I was making the call that that would be the rotation I want. And as far as Jack is concerned, Jack was under the weather in the last game, and the compound that with the fact that the Mets were at home and they were motivated to win. It was the perfect storm. But you saw what happened today. Manaea was dealt the first time he pitched against the Dodgers, and the Dodgers said to him, "Yeah, that was your one shot. We're going to finish you off now." Manaea had a 7 ERA with the league against the Dodgers up until this last start. Before, I was not worried about Manaea tonight. I had a pretty good feeling that they were going to go off. The only thing that I was worried about was the bullpen, who was, and we're minus Vesia too. Vesia took two. Sometimes he'd take a 4 or 5 pitchers. I'm sorry, 4 or 5 batters, and he was out. And that was Freddie's not there healthy. I mean, there's so much stuff that just keeps piling on. Gavin Lux's hip is bothering him. So you're sitting there going, okay, these guys are slowly deteriorating and everywhere on their path to a title. But the offense and the guys that are really stepped up, the stars. My friend, I had said this on Jeff's show. My friend Denise, she pissed me off today and said, Ohtani better do something. And she usually talks out of her ass a lot. It's just kind of her personality. I said, I wanted to say, bitch, and she's a friend of mine, so I could talk to her like that. I said, bitch, what the fuck do you want him to do? He's been on base 17 times in this series. That's a record. And it gets tiring when it's wrong. There's a difference between getting beat and making stupid mistakes. Doc has not made any mistakes in this run. He has made very, 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 very elite decision-making in this run. And he's 4 wins away from possibly having a Greg Popovich type season that Greg Popovich had in 2014, which in my book is still the greatest coaching I've ever seen in an NBA season. The 2014 San Antonio Spurs. He's having that kind of season for the Dodgers should they win it all.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, the happy Joe Soro. What's the I see bits and pieces. I also saw him when you were on Empire Jeff.
Kike with the mustache. I got this shirt before he left.
Kike Hernandez, everyone.
Kike Hernandez. I couldn't help it. Usually, I said this on Jeff's show. I don't ever have men on shirts that I wear, but this is what this. I saw this shirt. I said, I gotta have it. Mustache Kike with a weird look on his face, right? And
that's his old number. That's his old number.
That's
correct?
His old number. Yeah.
Yes, that's why I was like 14. I keep 14.
Yeah,
There's no 14 on the Dodgers.
Kike. Yeah, it's Kike, and
okay.
My God, I that's a lot of the hope. Not hope. A lot of the focus in winning this year is should they win this year. I compared it to the 2000 Laker team. They were probably a year early in winning that year. Hey Jeff, welcome. And the Dodgers getting Ohtani and Yamamoto, and with all the crap that they have to deal with, basically 90% of their pitchers going out. If they win this year, they're a year ahead of this run that I think they're going on.
Che, that's a great question. 2014 Spurs for the Ace versus 86 Celtics. Who was better at passing the ball? That's a really good and detailed question. I would probably say, because I saw them during that period of time, I'm going to say the 86 Celtics. Bird, I know that Bird was in a discussion the other day about, how great is he compared to other players, some of the elite players of all time. I know that defense, Lee, his back injuries, again, all that. The guy is one of the greatest passers of all time. Magic obviously was one of the greatest passers of all time. We were blessed at that period of time to see those two, but the Celtics did move the ball extremely well, which gave them that opportunity to win at that time, Joe.
I unfortunately was too young to absorb that season, but in the history findings that I have not only that, but I've seen all the finals games that decade. I saw all 85, all of 87, 84. The 86 team was probably more dominant than the 2014 Spurs. But as far as coaching is concerned, that 86 team didn't need as much coaching. And the reason why they were so fundamentally amazing is Bill Walton was your sixth starter. He won the sixth man of the year that year. Bill Walton is criminally underrated. And I hate using that word because everyone says it about everything. I even heard somebody say that Hulk Hogan was underrated. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? Like, what are you talking about? Hulk Hogan is the George Washington on Mount Rushmore of wrestling. What do you mean he's under? Like, I actually got pissed when he said that. I said Hulk Hogan is the George Washington on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. How is he underrated? What's he going to be? God? So, 86 more dominant. They lost one game at home all year. Imagine that. You're guaranteed a win in Boston for 7.5 months, except for one game. And Bill Walton being the sixth starter, Larry winning his third MVP that year, McHale, Parrish, Ainge. Casey Jones was the coach that year. Not saying he's a bad coach, but I think everything came together for Larry at that time. And I got a little bit of flack, by the way, on picking Larry over LeBron. And I never got a chance to explain this as far as my top five. Top five I had was Kareem, Magic, Kobe, Bird, and Jordan. And because they weren't talking about positions, so they said top five. Top five. The reason why I picked Bird over LeBron is I've never been afraid of LeBron. And Larry Bird, in my book, is for a 8-year span was as scary and top notch as can get. LeBron has been amazing for years. I get it, but I don't look at longevity in terms of talent because it's a different era. It's a different time. I'm not going to compare when medicine was great. Plus, LeBron is he helped usher in, and it's not all his fault. I'm just saying he helped usher in the load management type stuff. If LeBron had played like everybody played before, he wouldn't have played. He wouldn't be playing 22 years. He probably would have played 14 years, 15 years. But I'm talking about that window. There's a window for prime people. It's usually around 5 years. It's usually that 5-year mark where you're supposed to be the best or at least one of the best. And Larry Bird was not only amazing and winning MVPs. He wasn't just winning stats. The guy was winning championships. He was beating the Lakers and beating really good teams. I'm talking, battles with the Sixers and beating Hakeem and Ralph Sampson before he got hurt. Like he was beating some good teams. And there weren't a lot of teams in the 80s. There was only 26 teams at that time. I think it started with 24 when he came to the league and went to 26. But anyways, point is, you feared Larry Bird. You feared Jordan. You feared Kobe. I never feared LeBron. And that's kind of how I based that. I kind of based it all on that.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening. Don't forget, if you're listening to this before Monday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, there are still spots available on our ESPN Fantasy Basketball League. I'm also hoping to drop at least one more season predictions. I've got one more I get to go ahead and show our members before I make it public on our brand new website we've got coming up this week. Maybe Joe will bring in his season predictions too. Let's hope that, could be the case. He said he might. I don't know. Yeah, he says that every year. Okay, you said yes the other day, and I knew that was kind of like a half-hearted yes. So now it's no.
Don't do that
So
shit.
I guess you're wishy-washy depending on the way the wind
Listen,
blows. Like,
I'll wash your face.
dude, that sounds disgusting, but that's okay. I'm good. All right. By the way, did you remind Jeff that if he was going to come on the air after us
Yes.
tomorrow?
Well,
Okay.
I asked him. I said that you were he was invited.
Yeah, but if he wants to put on his channel, his start doing NBA preview, I could, we could go time it where our show ends, his show begins, so that the whole audience can move over to his channel that we built on our channel earlier that day. So that's up to him because we're going to be on 2.5, 3 hours tomorrow. Just figured he would want to go ahead and get that lead in for him for the evening, but that's up to him. See you later, cool bro. Have a good week at school. Cannot believe you let your dad take you to that. Man, like I said, don't ever let me talk to your parents. Don't ever let me talk to your parents, cool bro. Hmm. Anyways, the man, myth, the legend, Xbox also as well. Big shout out to Ralph and his girlfriend. Covering for him when he's not there. Let him know what's going on with the Lakers fast break. Joe, that leads us into the Lakers. You get a couple days off to rest from the Dodgers to focus in on the Lakers. The most optimistic of individuals even say that the Lakers at best have a fighting chance. Laker Tom on Saturday. He didn't guarantee anything. He didn't go out of those ways. Well, he did say that JJ Redick is the next Pat Riley. Whatever. Okay, yes, he said that before. But he did say at best the Lakers have a fighting chance to win the title. In your opinion, you just said no chance. No, no, no. But let's say you wanted to be optimistic. Let's say you wanted to go ahead and say, you know what? The Lakers might be 100-1 shot or whatever they are in Vegas right now. They're, obviously 42 wins and 42 and a half, I think. I'm sorry. Is they've actually come down instead of gone up since what they started at, which is surprising. What possible route or what could the Lakers actually do to get themselves in that conversation? Obviously, a combination of injuries to other teams, uh, unexpected boost in play from some of the players out there, Dalton Connect being a rookie of the year. What are these scenarios, in your it could possibly happen, in order for the Lakers to be even thought about even remotely as a championship team? I'm trying to find any kind of pathway. Any kind.
I'd say they would have to somehow get a competent center fairly quickly into the season. Dalton Connect would have to be so on where you can put him in the starting lineup and you could have AR come off the bench. And then now you have a somewhat viable eight-man rotation.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a 9 by putting Max Christie in there, okay, maybe he can help every now and then, but you would have to have. I don't see how you can run and gun though, which is what would work with LeBron running for 82 games.
Because you saw during the championship season, and we've talked about this before, the two things that they relied upon the most, it wasn't shooting, Joe. It was defense and transition. That's what won their title. Is because they were willing to go ahead and push the pace whenever they could, Joe. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're doing as much of that as now.
No.
I haven't seen them do it as much.
No, because when you're in half court, you're eliminating the advantage in terms of spacing and easy buckets. When you go half court is when the defense now can settle down. They know that AR can't blow by them. They know that Rui isn't that kind of guy either. They know that D'Angelo's definitely not that guy. AD is going to have to kind of. AD doesn't really have a consistent drop step in the paint, 4 or 5 foot shot that is always going in. He tends to miss more than he makes in those areas. He can get on a hot streak where he goes 8 of 10 from the field, but it's not game in and game out. And then LeBron's going to take a lot of threes. He's going to do a lot of ISO stuff. He also has bad habits in terms of when things don't go his way, he starts to kind of lag. There's a lot of that stuff that ends up being a detriment during the process. So a lot of things would have to stop. I don't think JJ Redick has the balls to yell at LeBron and tell him to get back on defense when he doesn't get the call he wants. And if your solution is to have Anthony Davis shooting threes,
career 29% shooter.
I just want to know who's going to rebound. Rebounding wins championships. And I also think that good man-on-man defense wins championships as well.
70-1. Dad, thank you, Che. It was 70-1 odds that the Lakers win the championship. So if you put $1 down on it, anyone, you could win up to $70 per dollar that you put in it. So it's up to you if you want to drop that kind of money. But it is,
Jay,
of course.
Jay, they can't. The NBA put themselves in socialist mode with the way they've structured the salary cap. They had the best blend for the longest time. They had a salary cap, but it was more kind of towards, well, you can still sign your own guys if you get their bird rights, which is beautiful. And then slowly they start making it more and more complicated. Then it turned into, well, you got to match contracts, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. And essentially eliminating any chance of having a normal trade easier. Now there's so many filters that you have to go through. You almost kind of wonder, why didn't anybody just stand up and say, just put a fucking hard cap? You guys are fucking killing me with this shit.
Now the Celtics, if they keep their current roster over the next couple seasons, eventually with taxes, it will cost them $700 million to retain that team.
And that's not going to happen. As soon as the new owners come in, then you're going to start seeing them gut that team. Get ready. And it's just why I don't understand why they complicated this. Just make it a hard cap. You essentially did. Just make it a hard cap so that you can easily set things up better. Now, the problem in the NBA, and I've been saying this for years, the NBA is not like the NFL. You can't find talent that's going to be transcendent more often than not later in the rounds. You have to get really lucky. So is it going to really solve their small market problem? I don't understand why anyone gives two shits about small markets not making it. I mean, is the NBA really going to change if the New Orleans Pelicans are competitive or the Charlotte Hornets? The NBA already has too many teams anyways. It should go back to 26 teams. It would allow teams to have more talent instead of thinning it out. Who really cares about the Hornets or the Pelicans? Does Memphis really care about basketball in Memphis?
Good question.
I'm just kind of spitballing there. I know they have a Oklahoma City, sure. They have a rabid fan base. I don't have a problem there. Hell, Miami. I know Miami's always going to have a team. It's Miami, but they weren't even selling out tickets when they were winning championships in playoff games.
When Memphis faced against the Lakers, I'd have to go back and see the stats as far as what, it didn't sell out. how rabid was the fan base. I mean, obviously, we were all remembering the good parts about what happened with the Lakers in Memphis. So, uh, to take a closer look at that, I would probably have to look at those games to see exactly how supported they were for the Memphis Grizzlies at that time.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good question, though.
I just think the NBA has too many teams, and if they're going to expand, I think that's a bad idea. I think they should move teams to Vegas and Seattle and realign the divisions. I don't think they should add two more. But that's my focus. That's how I feel about it. And I think Adam Silver knows that. That's why he always tries to deflect that question more and more that he hears it. Well, we're not really there yet. I think he knows. Is he trying to build more cash flow with this new deal? Maybe. But who's going to be a star when LeBron leaves? Is there really a star that you want to that's going to carry the NBA? LeBron has been carrying it for a while. Him and Steph, right?
Yeah.
So the last 15 years, him and Steph, he's been there before the 15 years too, but he really started kind of the Kobe, Shaq, Tim Duncan phase out in 2010. Him going to Miami kind of that put him at the forefront at that point. Even though he was there, it was just now it's at another level. Now he's winning, he's competing for championships in a way where you think he's going to win, and he did. And then Steph came in a little bit after that, did what he did. Durant is part of that group too, but he kind of muddled the waters a little bit going to Golden State. So I don't know. I don't know. I can't really tell you how I feel about that. Really, my instincts say he took the easy way out. No one's going to argue against that. But who in this new age is it going to be? Victor Wembanyama? It's going to be some French guy.
Well, I mean,
Is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander going to be the?
Well, Seven had a good question in regards to who is the NBA's Shohei Otani, and I said Victor maybe could develop into that. He's not there yet. I didn't say he was there yet, but I'm saying on both ends of the floor, which equates to pitching and hitting, he could become that player. I don't see anyone else being that dominant in the NBA on both ends of the floor like he can.
There's a lot of validity in that Wembanyama will be a Shohei Otani type player. He is a dual. He is a first all NBA, first all defense player for years. And he's the only one that I see right now. I don't see Banchero. I don't see Chet Holmgren. I don't see Tatum or Jaylen Brown being that transcendent superstar. Cooper Cup. What's a Cooper Cup? See this freaking cool bro in my head. Cooper Flag has been showing some things that if he gets here and he's got a personality for the show, maybe him. But right now, it's really Victor. That's it. There's no one else.
Yeah, on both sides of the floor. Before we get the comments, we're talking about you have to equate it pitching and hitting. So it would be for the NBA player, offense and defense. Who could become or already is that Shohei Otani? And I don't think anybody is that Shohei Otani yet, but I would say of anyone, Victor Wembanyama right now.
The impact won't likely be exact, but pretty close. He'd have to win though. And is San Antonio the right place for him to win?
Well, remember, Otani didn't win for several years with the Angels until he went to the Dodgers. It shows you, I mean, it shows you right there. They had Otani and Trout. It takes more than just one or even two players for baseball to win.
Baseball is the reason why baseball has always been an individual sport, because it is exactly that. You're only going to see Otani once for every 9 at bats. This isn't something where you can go give Otani the ball and he can run with it. And the way baseball is now with pitchers, Pitchers aren't going to really go beyond 6 innings anymore. I think it's going to get worse too, by the way, in terms of pitching innings.
I
Because
would have
these,
said Antetokounmpo at one time was approaching that, but you can see injuries have kind of changed things a little bit. Plus, he never developed his shooting, I think, the way people wanted to. And Durant, I think if he devoted more to the defensive end, he definitely could have evolved into that player. But he's a scorer first and foremost.
I don't think their personalities were transcended.
Mm-hmm. I'm just talking about Otani as far as who would have been close to Otani in today's modern game.
No one. I think Victor's probably the only one. And in a lot of ways, is LeBron in there? Would LeBron be considered a Otani?
Do you think that he played defense at that level?
He did. He played.
Okay.
He should have won in 13. He should have won in 13.
Okay.
Defensive player of the year, by the way, for those of you who don't remember what I was saying. LeBron, I don't think Steph Curry. Steph Curry is phenomenal, but I don't know. I can't explain the Steph Curry thing. I just his game is he's the greatest shooter of all time that I've ever seen. But that's the kind of and a phenomenal leader and teammate. But I don't put him in the greatest of all time category. I can't do that. I don't see that in him. I see him as a top 20, you could say a top 20 player, but I think there's more. I think there's 15 players that are better than Steph Curry in the history of the NBA.
Joe, can Rob come around like Dave Roberts has? Darren is asking.
That's a different position. Rob is a GM. Dave Roberts is a manager. The other thing is there's things that Dave doesn't have to deal with that Rob has to deal with. Dave essentially goes into every season with treats. This last offseason, he was treated to the best player on the planet in his prime, and then what will likely be an ace, a dominant ace in Yamamoto. And then, of course, Friedman, during the trade deadline, ended up getting 3 players that might have saved their season in winning a championship in Edman, Kopech, and Flattery. So Dave doesn't have to worry about that stuff. He just has to worry about what's available. Whereas Rob has to go get those things to give his team a chance to win. And at the same time, in defense of Rob Pelinka, he's got a lot more restrictions than Major League Baseball has. Major League Baseball does not have a salary cap. Really, it's luxury tax crap. It just there's a lot more freedom to do things in baseball versus the NBA. The issue with Rob that ended up burying the Lakers run here is his inability to focus on the right pieces to come or stay on this team. He ended up listening to people that were around him too much instead of paying attention to what really mattered, which is this team needs the right role players to play with LeBron and AD, and he's not really supplied them with that. And he's been doing this for 3 years now, almost 4 years. So that he's wasted the run. And there hasn't been a lot of waste in runs at the very least. Yeah, the Dodgers have lost some stupid playoff series, and we've gotten on Dave for that. But I said this on Jeff's show tonight. We don't harp on the fact that the Dodgers really got jacked in 2017 and 2018, and there was never any repercussions. And that set the stage for the last 5, 6 years, 8 years, I should say. It really derailed what could have been something that might have matched the late 90s Yankees. And no one seemed to have cared. Manfred didn't care. People got on the Houston Astros for being cheating assholes, but didn't matter. They still get to hang their banner. Red Sox cheated, yet it's almost like, yeah, they cheated, but whatever.
Astros.
They still would have won. See, there's Red Sox people and East Coast people that say, well, they if they hadn't cheated, they would probably would have won in 6 or
What
7.
about the Astros?
No, that's what I'm talking about. The Astros at 17.
Yeah.
Cheating pieces of shit derailed what could have been something. I don't know, mentally might have jacked them up. It might have been different if they had won that series.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely took away probably a World Series MVP from Kershaw in that World Series. He was dominant in Game 1, and he was going to win Game 5 twice until we found out later that they never swung at one off-speed pitch, not one off-speed pitch that Kershaw threw in that game. Do you have any idea how just non-existent that is in a game where you're not cheating? So here we are, 8 seasons later. They get Shohei, they get Yamamoto, they go through all this crap. That's the funny thing is now I'm starting to hear, because all the excuses have run out. Dave Roberts isn't managing like shit. All those Padre fucking moron fans are now.
I heard Empire Jeff's rant on the parking lot, which I had talked to you about the other day, Joe. If you remember, because the Dodger fans were even fighting amongst themselves in the parking lot, and I've experienced firsthand Chavez Ravine's parking lot. When they don't like you, they let you know. So it is kind of dangerous when you're there. But inside, if you're not in the bleachers, but if you're wearing I can't believe Ozzy got out of there alive as far as concerned with a Mets hat. And I told him, please don't wear your Mets hat in the bleachers, but I think he didn't, but just to make sure he was okay. But getting back to the point, Joe, I know that it gets such a bad rap in certain parts of the Dodgers fan experience. I know that I heard Empire Jeff go off on the Padres because the Padres fans are still bitter about their loss. As the Dodgers move on to the World Series, I've heard you guys talk about Dodgers in 6, Dodgers in 7. What are you guys feeling?
I just want them to win the first 2 games at home. They have not won those first 2 games in these environments, and it's getting tiring. I want them to win those first 2 games at home. If they win the first 2 games at home, I feel very strongly that worst case scenario, they're going to win in 6.
Do you think they still go after Soto if they win?
I don't think they're going to pay Soto what he needs. Soto's probably going to get a half a bill.
They were in the chat. They were talking 12 years, 600 mil.
That could be it too. I don't think they need to go that route. I think what they do need to do is they need to go after Blake Snell. They need a left-handed possible ace 1A to pitcher, and Snell would be the perfect guy. Jeff had mentioned trying to blank here, the pitcher for the Padres.
You don't think another hitter would also come into play as well?
That'll depend on if they keep their guys. It's
because the gap between the Dodgers and everyone else kind of was closer this year.
So Jeff was talking about some near acquisitions from the spring till now. I would like, he mentioned Tanner Scott. And there was a chance where they could have gotten not only Tanner Scott, but they were trying to get Clase. If this Major League Baseball situation is going to continue to go the route of systematic pitching, then a 6-man rotation is the way to go, and you're not going to be as reliant on your ace or your 2 anymore. It's just going to be, okay, we're going to pitch. Let's say Glasnow comes back next year and he's good. You got Yamamoto. Let's say you get Dustin May back. Let's say you get Goslin back. You're probably going to get one more pitcher. Let's say you get a Blake Snell. Now your starters are pretty much done because I don't know if Bueller's going to come back. We're still up in the air on that. We're going to assume he won't be back, especially if he has a good World Series. But then you got to go get some more. You're going to go get some more relief pitchers, somebody like a Tanner Scott, right? Like if you bring him in and then you got what you have right now, you're sitting pretty next year. Then as far as hitters, I don't really know. I don't really know where to go with that. I would prefer to probably maybe bring everybody back, which everybody's coming back. Edman has another year. Teo could sign back, but I think he'd have to take less than maybe another team's given him. Glasnow, I didn't mention Glasnow. I'm sorry. Glasnow might have been in his. Sometimes good pitchers will pitch all the way through 1 year, and then the following year they might fall off, which is what happened to Glasnow. And Glasnow's had that issue. It's because he pitches with such ferocity that he sometimes can crap out, during the year. If Glasnow can last through next year, that's a huge benefit, especially after coming up lame this year and they still win it. That's a huge win. But I think there needs to be some kind of solution to this issue. This is 2 years in a row where you've lost your starting pitchers going into the season. That can't happen again. I would like to think that the laws of the luck thing run out at that point. You're not going to be unlucky, I should say. Next year, imagine if they have a full staff going into the playoffs and a good bullpen, and they bring the same offensive unit that they have now. You're in trouble. The competitors are trouble. I mean, it's just what it is, and they're going to be motivated to the tilt because this team is equipped to be a dynasty. They're not equipped to just win one World Series and call it a day. And they've been proving that for years. It's just that they ended up getting screwed at the beginning of the last one, and they were reeling the whole time until finally Ohtani gets signed, Yamamoto gets signed, and I think this new way of how pitchers are going to be handled. This was Dave Roberts' kind of calling card to say this is kind of where I belong.
Great question, Abraham. Getting back to the Lakers. And once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. Search and Destroy, killing it as he always has and always will. Right there for you, posting one of our great links for Lakers gear, Lakers Fast Break gear, I should say, for your holiday needs. Holiday gift giving guide right there for you. Abraham with a great question. Always great to have Abraham here. Big supporter of ours here at the Lakers Fast Break, along with everybody else who's watching us after midnight here. He's asking, is Quincy going to the G League? Well, remember, he's on a two-way. So he's limited in the number of games he can play with the Lakers. I believe it's 40, 45, Joe. I think it's in that range on the number of games he can play as a two-way player, or if you convert it to a regular contract, obviously he can play all 82 if that's the case. But as a two-way player, you are limited in the number of appearances you can make as an NBA player. The rest of the time, yes, Abraham, he will be playing in the G League along with Bronny, Maxwell Lewis, JHS. Yeah, all those guys. Quincy Olivari will be having to carry them there too as well.
I'm sorry, folks, but I think you've put too much expectation on Quincy Olivari. Olivari has earned his two-way contract, but he will not be a difference maker by any means.
No, let's be honest, Joe. First off, in fact, there's going to be limited minutes for early on for Dalton Connect. Just because he got a ton of minutes during the preseason, it's always the mentality. The rookies always get the short end of the stick. I mean, Zach Edey will be one of those few exceptions because they have such a gaping hole in the middle in Memphis. It's exactly what they're doing for him. Even Zachary Ricochet, there's a good chance he'll be starting. He'll be coming off the bench to start the season, and he's the number one draft pick overall, and it has looked decent in preseason. So that tells you right there, rookies, for the most part, do not get the kind of minutes that even sometimes they deserve. Knecht will get minutes. It all depends. But Olivari, coming off of those two performances, however good they were, however much we enjoyed watching, remember, it is still just based off of two performances, most of those playing against other second and third teamers, four teamers, guys who might not even stay with their teams. So we got to put that in perspective. And Olivari, I think, probably someone that's going to see a lot more time in the G League than the Lakers in his first season with the team. Maybe later on, he'll be more like Knecht will probably be relied upon more, maybe with some more minutes, if that's the case. But Olivari, I think early on, you guys will be asking for him, but I don't think JJ will listen very carefully.
I don't think that's true, actually. I think Dalton Knecht's going to get a lot more minutes than you think because they have no choice. They have no talent off the bench. And he might be the only one that
he might get more than 15, 20 minutes.
You'll have to. You'll have to play 20, 25 minutes because I'm telling you guys right now, Max Christie's not going to work out. Sorry, it won't. And if JJ wants to use Jackson Hayes with AD, he's going to have to play a lot of minutes. And a lot of it is going to be he's going to have to slip down into the center position to cover for AD when he sits down, and then you're going to have to move LeBron or Rui to power forward and play that way. Lakers don't have talent, folks. They don't have talent. They don't have enough at all.
So you don't think it'll be the old tried and true JJ?
If you do tried and true, what are you going to do? Keep playing Max Christie and him not doing anything?
Or Gabe Vincent? You'll see a lot of those guys first and foremost coming off the bench.
Good luck. Absolutely good luck. If any of the starters don't play well the first, for this team to come out the gate, unlike they have the last how many seasons now, since 2020, none of the starters can struggle. If AR is missing shots that he's wide open with, if D'Angelo Russell is playing worse defense than he ever has and isn't making shots, these guys are toast. There's no depth. Absolutely no depth. And Max Christie is going to get destroyed based off what I've seen. As far as Knecht is concerned, he is a wide body who can shoot, can get elevation, can move around. He'll be fine if he can handle the pressure and play in 82 games. That stuff's always a bug for a lot of the rookies because they're used to playing 35 games in college, 40 maybe.
They hit a wall usually at some point.
Always hit a wall. They're going to hit a wall. They always hit a wall around January and stuff, and it's likely going to happen here unless he's putting himself in cardiovascular shape where he can combat that. But most rookies don't think that way. Their bodies, it doesn't even matter if they do think that way. The body takes a while to get used to that kind of rigorous activity. But if you all think that Max Christie is going to save the day and Gabe Vincent all of a sudden, folks, Gabe Vincent can't shoot. You all know that, right? Gabe Vincent can't shoot. So what's his value? Backing up D'Angelo Russell for 15, 20 minutes, as long as the team is playing well and up, sure. But if you've got to put him in to cover for D'Angelo Russell's deficiencies and they're down, he ain't going to be shooting those threes to catch up. And that's another thing that I didn't get into because it's obvious he didn't really focus on it. If I was him, I would have been shooting 1,000 balls a day.
Now, hold on. Rough Artist says, can't complain about not having talent if you keep dismissing guys like Pippen Jr. and Olivari. Pippen Jr. was nowhere near playing at the level he is now with Memphis. So that's one thing. Olivari, I would love to see him get the opportunity. But again, coming off of just 2 games as a rookie, I don't think JJ is going to rely on him too much too soon. because again, he's just on a two-way, and you're only going to get him a limited number of games, anyways. But I would like to see him get burned. I just don't expect it, if that's the best way I can say it.
Let things play out, and then we'll analyze it as the game goes. As of right now, from what I've seen, the Lakers are going to struggle, and it's going to be worse than last year and the year before, because you have a year older LeBron, and AD really has no one to back him up, really, especially if you're going to be playing Jackson Hayes together with him. If you're going to play the what if game, you're going to have to go, you have to start from the top. Can LeBron James run and gun for an 82 game season and stay healthy the whole time? Can AD play the same way and on both offense and defense? And can these guys rebound? Forget about shooting. Rebound. Can you rebound? Can you limit possessions? Can you limit chances at scoring? We saw them transition on defense as bad as I think they ever have. What do you think this last preseason?
Oh, it was terrible.
It was terrible, right?
The first half, he had to yell at him because in the Phoenix game, it was like 20-0 in the first half. So he yelled at them, and they kind of got their act together. Well, guess what happened in the next game, Joe? It happened again, where they got killed on the transition. Again, on the transition throughout the preseason. It's been a problem. You could say, okay, they're going through the motions. It's just preseason. The starting five, they already know there's a starting five, so really nothing much to work on. I saw effort, at times between D'Lo, Rui, LeBron himself, like not hustling back on D. I saw it, and you could leave it up preseason. I'll wait to reserve my full judgment on Tuesday to see what we got there, but that better change. That better change quickly, Joe.
No. This is when you need to hone in on that in preparation.
Oh, I agree with you. But their mentality a lot of times is that NBA mentality, which you comment on and hate so much.
But how are you going to get back on defense when you're shooting threes and you don't have anybody that can rebound? How are you supposed to get back on transition? How are you supposed to be good at transition defense when you're focused on shooting from far away and you have a problem rebounding? Oh, you're also drawing your big guy out. I'm sure if I said something like this to a bunch of NBA coaches and people, they'll look at me like I'm some weirdo or some idiot. But really, am I really not knowing what I'm seeing? You guys tell me. Am I not seeing something? What has been the problem? What killed the Lakers last year? It wasn't not shooting well. They shot well. They had three guys that shot 40% from three, including LeBron. Both LeBron and AD were healthy all year. Yet they still had to fight for a play-in. And they still got waxed by Denver. So now what? Are you going to sit there and tell me, well, they were close? It took two last-second shots for Jamal Murray. Okay. So what? JJ Redick now is going to stop Jamal Murray from making last-second shots? How are you going to get back on how are you going to be good at transition defense when you're not rebounding? Anyone?
That's the question.
I'm sorry, I don't see it. And people are going to blame JJ Redick in December? Is that what you're going to do if they start losing? What's LeBron going to do? Put dung beetles in his tweets describing his situation with his passive aggressiveness? These idiots are going to put a non-NBA player in this game so they can have their Polaroids. You tell me if that's a focus that the team has for winning. Just answer the questions, folks. I would ask this to anyone there. Doesn't matter what it is. If it was Rob, but you can't ask people questions that matter because they get butthurt. They go and cry and tell their cronies to, hey, don't let this guy do whatever. That's the world we live in, right? I want these assholes to tell me to my face how they care about winning when they've conducted their roster and their mental focus the way they have. They're just going to turn it on? Is that it? What, Gabe Vincent's going to start hitting shots? Not doing shit during the preseason? We're gonna watch. We're gonna watch. We were talking about Dave Roberts, and Jeff was talking about. He talks about the couch guys, right? I said, and I'd said this to him a couple times, not tonight, but I said, look, dude, I am in full support of Dave Roberts this season. I go, but he made some stupid decisions in the past. You can't. I'm not going back on that. That's not something.
He said that in the beginning. He said he loved how people were turning their mind around on Roberts, and I'm clearly thinking he was talking about you.
Well, it's. I'm not turning I'm not turning around, really. He is justifying this run. He did a couple things we were asking him to do years ago. Go with the moment. Leaving Bueller in for another batter. Bunting. Analytics does not like bunting, folks. You all saw, if you needed a reference that's out there, Moneyball laughs at it. Brad Pitt talks about it. You don't let your enemy know that they're making a mistake because we don't, because it's essentially an out, and that's what analytics wants, outs. They don't care about the runner at second based off analytics. But he did that twice in that San Diego series, and it might have won that series because of it. And he had Bueller mentally enhanced by letting them get back out there. Those are the things we were begging him to do in the past. And he did it, and look what happened. Look, man, we know what this game is. I'm not stupid. I know how baseball works. I've been watching it since I was 10 years old. I know when it's someone's fault and when it isn't someone's fault. You never hear me say, Joe Torre sucks in 2008 when Jonathan Broxton was serving up grapefruits to Matt Stairs. We get caught in this, you got to be on one side or the other side. No, I don't. You do that. I don't do that. I go by in the moment screwing up. Just like I talk about Greg Popovich, in my book, having the greatest coach season I've seen in the NBA in 14. What did he do in the 2013 finals? Absolutely butchered Game 6. Terrible decisions in Game 6 that cost them the title. But he made up for it the following year. He can never make up for what he did in that game. It is what it is. Sometimes that happens. Kobe Bryant. You've heard me say Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol in the Thunder series in 2012. Those both cost the Lakers that series. They played terrible in a couple of those games towards the end that they lost. I love Kobe. Kobe hardly ever did that, but he did. He had more great games than not, but him and Pau didn't do well in that series. They cost him that series by making bad decisions. So I'm just going by what I'm seeing. I'm not sitting here trying to blame somebody. That's the other thing is people want to blame something no matter what. Oh, they're not happy with their job. They're blaming the economy. They're not happy with their relationship. They're blaming the sexist or social media. Right? Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody blames something. They don't go look in the mirror or look at the situation in those situations. Maybe you screwed up. Maybe you're not putting yourself in the right position. Or maybe that person just screwed up. Get on with it. Maybe I'm not going to be able to do this over here. And that's something that unfortunately it's hard to teach because it's so important for people to be right in their own mind. Because and we've created this self-esteem culture that has actually reversed self-esteem. Because as soon as something goes wrong, that shit drops like a bowling ball from a third-story building.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Welcome, uh, Jenly. I'm hoping I'm saying all right. Selena Torres, great to have you here. She says it's LA month and year once again. I know it's just like in 2021 and 2020 when my Dodgers, my Rams. Now we need the Lakers like in 2020 to come up next. And let's hope that they can follow suit. But a lot has to go right in order for that to happen. Even the most optimistic of options, because of how and where the Lakers stand, the inactivity by Rob Pelinka, the health has to be there. It's so funny, Joe, because I'm playing ESPN fantasy basketball and the projections have AD to play only 64 games this season, which tells you even they don't think that AD will be healthy this entire season.
If they don't find him a legitimate center to back him up, I would say it's pretty accurate. He's not going to last. He's gonna come up lame at some point in the middle of the season, and then they'll blame injuries. They AD has essentially been a star quarterback without a really good offensive line. That's the worst thing you can do to a franchise quarterback, not supply him with protection. And you've never put AD in the right spot except for 1 year and a year and a half with the 2021. But it's hard to gauge 2021 because there was just too many injuries that year. They were back in they were back at it too quick, and it didn't health wise it didn't work out. It's unfortunate.
But we hope, and I know that's Joe's favorite word, not that the Lakers can get to the point where they're at least competitive with the upper echelon of the Western Conference. Who knows? Maybe some injuries one way, maybe some increased play and proficiency the other way may see the Lakers through to a 50-plus win season. It's a lot of mays in there and a lot of hopes, which I know you don't like to hear. And,
I don't know where I seriously can't understand how anybody could actually think.
I didn't say I did. I didn't say I did.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying this. Got to wake up, folks. Please wake up. The thought of this team winning 50 games, what do you have on that?
I mean, the members already know what I have picked for the Lakers this season, and I'll just leave it at that.
I don't understand. I don't understand if you pay attention. Hope is great in a lot of areas in life. You hope that you don't get sick. You hope that your kids are safe when they go to school. That's hope. This is not hope. That's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. You already see how this is playing out. Mm-hmm. Every 5 seconds, there's an excuse. Excuses don't stop because, oh, now they're in a real-time game. If you're not preparing behind the scenes and focused, this is why I didn't pick LeBron above Larry Bird. LeBron is one of the greatest that have ever played. But when you ask me who I'm going to pick to be my top 5, I didn't even think about LeBron. I want killers. Kareem was a killer. Magic was a silent killer. Larry Bird was a straight serial killer. Kobe was nasty. Michael Jordan was psychotic. And maybe that's a personality thing. But is it? Is it? Do you think that if any of those guys, and Kareem almost did. He played 20 years. Kobe played 20 years. But Kobe's last 5 years were not really, I mean, last really 3 years was just he had run out. His body was breaking down. But any of those guys, you're talking about Kareem with 6, Magic with 5, Jordan with 6, Bird with 3, Kobe with 5. When you watch those guys win, it was different. It was just different. The most dominant run that LeBron had was really the 2020 run. From a dominance from beginning to end. His best season was 16, no doubt. Probably one of the best seasons an NBA player has ever had was 16. But even then, that was a struggle. He had to come back from 3-1, unprecedented. And then in Miami, I think there was a lot left there. I think he could have. I think he should have won at least 3 there, but really he should have won 4, based off of what we're told who he is. You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
You look at Kareem's 10 finals run. Let's go over it real quick. He lost the Celtics in 7 and 74. And then he lost in 83 to the stacked Sixers. 84 lost the Celtics with Worthy's terrible passing game too. Otherwise, they would have won that series. And then he lost in 89 when Magic and Barry Scott blew out their hamstrings. All the other wins, man, were pretty significant. He was with Milwaukee 3 years and he helped them win a championship. That's pretty crazy. Magic, Bird. I don't know. I feel like there was more impact when they won versus when LeBron. And I think LeBron's left a lot more on the table than everybody else.
So with that, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Thank you again for joining us. Don't forget later today, because it's now today, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to go live with our season preview. John Costa, hopefully Joe Soro, myself. I've invited other guests. I'm hoping to get them on to go ahead and talk about the NBA season. Looking to go 2+ hours to get you hopefully into the spirit of the NBA season. After that, I'm hoping Empire Jeff will come on his channel and be able to entertain you guys even more with the season preview of the Lakers after that. Joe, also as well, I wanted to let everybody know, if you've not yet joined our fantasy basketball league, we'll actually be having the draft live at 5:30 p.m. It's an ESPN fantasy league. I'll be able to showcase it live while we're talking on the air. So if you want to go ahead and join, it is in the description below. It's also been posted twice in the chat. It's right there for you. We still have spots available. All the good stuff going down. Don't forget, you can become a member today for just $2.99 a month and like and subscribe to help us out. It would be greatly appreciated. Got to see some new faces today that actually were part of your conversation with Empire Jeff himself. Mark, how LeBron has not been arrested yet. Another one trying to oh no, I think he was the first one that was talking about the Diddy thing. It's because he's not going to be arrested, because it's just, you guys are reaching. Can't do guilt by association on this one. Just because he said it on the air, about the Diddy parties, doesn't mean he's going to be arrested.
And whoever put him in that maid's outfit should be kicked in the face with a golf shoe.
By the way, speaking of killers, Ralph was wanted to ask, Anthony Edwards, is he the closest thing to a killer right now?
No, come on.
Okay.
You crazy? Blow hard. When Magic is talking shit about you, you screwed up on a talk show. Another idiot who's yapping about how today's player is better than back then. Get the fuck out of here, man. What are you, crazy? You haven't done shit and you're talking shit. Michael Jordan would have had all these assholes in his pocket.
Did you see
Magic? Fuck. Kareem? I don't give a shit what was going on in the 80s. All 4 of those guys would have destroyed everyone in this era.
Did you happen to see Magic's tweet on Bronny?
I don't want to talk about him ever.
You're
Ever.
not gonna be able to avoid it,
I don't
man.
want
I'm
to talk
sorry.
about that guy ever.
I was remarking to my brother-in-law tonight that if you look at the numbers, remember Dalton Connect, how wonderful it was, how happy we were, how great a show it was. Dalton Connect single-handedly guiding the Lakers to victory in the overtime game at Phoenix. And then you look at the next day, the Lakers getting killed by 58 points against Golden State. But Bronny, because they basically at times let him score, scored 17 points in the game. Guess what show did better for our numbers last week, Joe?
The 58-point loss.
You got it. Because of Bronny.
Hmm.
Because of Bronny.
I'm not talking about him during the season. I'm sorry. I don't care what the numbers are.
It'll be out there, man. I'm just letting you know. He's gonna be. We're not gonna end up. We're not gonna hear the end of it when it comes to number 9, and I'll just leave it at that. But once again,
No, it's likely not going to be. It's not going to. If this team has any inkling of doing what they might do, this team would get destroyed. Understand, when the real games come, there is not going to be a letdown on the other team. If I'm any competent coach would exploit this so easily, it wouldn't even be a discussion. And I highly recommend all the players to really, really hone in on this. I would. And I'd be looking at Pops. This is your fault. Should have stayed at USC and gotten a degree. Sorry. I'm not playing this. I'm not playing this game, dude. I'm not. I don't give a shit. It's a joke. This whole thing is a joke, and a lot of my anger comes from it because it just sets a precedent that it's not about winning. If this is not about winning, then what the fuck you doing? What are you doing? You might as well go have the Harlem Globetrotters play with the Washington Generals. Might as well be professional wrestling. It's not a coincidence that I stopped watching wrestling, even though I knew it wasn't real. But once it became open, it became kind of lost its luster. I'm not saying I didn't know, but did you have to make it known? At some point, it was going to happen, and it did, and then that's was like, whatever. But now, a real sport, an actual competition sport, not a theatrical sport, is creating a theatrical sport. The Lakers are doing that. And for what? This is stupid. It's a stupid thing being done by stupid people. And if you're angry at me for calling her stupid, I'm talking about Jeannie Buss, that's on you. That's a you problem, not a my problem. She's doing it. I'm not doing it. You focused your entire draft day on a guy who can't play. Connect dropped to you guys. You guys didn't finagle anything. I'm not going to give you credit for that. It's not. Sorry, I'm not. I'm not even a NCAA basketball guru. That's Stone. That's Stone Hansen. I rely on Stone on that stuff because I can't watch everything, folks. I have a life I have to live. I have to work and pay bills. Otherwise, I would. I'd watch everything if I could. I'm a sports guy like that. But in this case, I relied on Stone Hansen. You relied on that, and I'm sure you watch it a little bit more than I do even. But we already knew I knew who Dalton Connect was. That's not something you shouldn't know if you're going to do a show about the NBA. You have to know who's coming. I didn't know a lot. I knew who he was. I knew he had some skill. And I was surprised that he dropped to 17. But that's not talent to me. That's not picking some. In order for you to be congratulated is when you pick someone like a Zubac in the second round, or a Jordan Clarkson, or someone late in the first like a Kyle Kuzma. That to me is talent because I didn't know who the fuck
Josh Hart.
Josh Hart. I don't know who the hell. I mean, I knew who Josh Hart was. I didn't know who the hell Kyle Kuzma was. I didn't watch Utah basketball. I didn't know who the hell Jordan Clarkson was or Zubac. I didn't really know shit about it. I never watched him play a day in my life. Because I did get that too. Joe, why don't you give Rob some props for Connect? I go, Connect was the no-brainer. He was supposed to get picked 10th. And like 90% of the boards that I was looking at. Why did he drop? I don't know.
Age.
They see 23 and they automatically think, he might not work in the NBA. I'm like, are you dumb? This is a shooting league. The guy can shoot. And he's got an NBA body already. And he doesn't move. He moves very well. He is athletic. He's not a stiff. He's not the Red Mamba. Remember the Red Mamba?
Yeah, I told you I think he's got a really good player that could happen sooner rather than later if given the opportunity. I'm just hoping JJ will see himself his way clear into doing so.
I don't really think I don't think Jay really knows what's coming. I think he might be in that hopeful crowd. Or maybe he does, but he's not saying anything because I would think that he would probably know. He's that kind of guy, but he can't ruffle the feathers or even as vocal and as upfront as JJ Redick is. My thing is, I'm going to have a lot more respect for JJ Redick when he's having a hard time getting through to these guys and he sees LeBron lag on a call he didn't get and him yelling on the sidelines to get back on defense. If I see him do something like that, I'm going to have a lot more respect for him because then you'll get a real good chance of seeing who LeBron is even more at that point. If LeBron starts to bitch and whine, then at that point, you all got to get on LeBron because that's it. 11 coaches in 22 seasons, folks. He's already on it. LeBron is a coach killer just as much as he is a great player. And that says a lot about why he hasn't won as much as he should have because he self-sabotages. He's won because of the immense talent he's had, but he should have won more if he had just been less narcissistic and less self-absorbed. And he's not shown any changes in the last 7 months with this dog and pony show that Genie's allowed him to put together. It is what it is, right?
It's what it is. But don't forget, we are coming at you later today, later Monday, that is, with a huge NBA season preview / Lakers season preview special. Looking forward to getting some good thoughts out there. Joe is hopefully going to stop by. John Costa is going to be there, and I'm hoping some more guests. I'm still trying to get confirmation on. We'll come there as well. So we're going to give you a nice 2 hours plus of great Lakers fast break goodness. But Joe, you've been on the air for a while now. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
About what?
Anything. Dodgers winning, going to the World Series, Lakers season coming up. Your Pittsburgh Steelers. You and I have got to Inside Sports Fantasy Football because Chris is on vacation. We will be talking Russell Wilson.
This was I didn't get a chance to really. I had it on both screens in my TV.
I watched the first half, and it was so funny because people I could see in social media, people of Pittsburgh fans going, "This guy's toast. This guy sucks." I saw people in the crowd going like this early on for Russell Wilson. Boy, did they change their minds real fast, Joe.
And that's the problem with a lot of us sometimes. I'm not gonna front. I get into that. I fall into that sometimes. I have to get I wake up though. I'll wait, just let it play out a little bit. The guy hasn't played in how many months? You wanted him to be John Elway out of the gate in his prime? Come on. What I saw tonight from just the Steelers standpoint is I saw I saw a guy playing quarterback that really has not been affected by a lot of really bad things said about him. It's very Tim Tebow like. The only difference between Tim Tebow and Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson is a bona fide NFL quarterback. And I'm not trying to denigrate Tim Tebow. It is his mechanics just never translated. It happens. Just what is what it is. And that says a lot. And I also want to give credit to Justin Fields. He took it like a pro. Said
Yep.
really, really
He
good
didn't
things.
whine, didn't complain.
And I know why he didn't. I know why he didn't. Because of Russell Wilson. A big part of it, I should say. Russell Wilson is sitting there clapping every time Justin was doing something well. There's a lot of support there. A lot of support. And that does something to somebody. Fast Willie Parker. By the way, 7-0 and as a Steelers starter in the playoffs, 2 Super Bowls. Jerome Bettis was going to take the back seat in 05. And Willie Parker being this non-drafted running back who's ridiculously fast and talented. Usually when you're dealing with competition, you don't know if the person you're going to probably replace is going to like you. Jerome Bettis sat him down and said, anything you need, here's my number, you call me. Why did those teams become so amazing? Those guys still hang out. Those guys still hang out, man. Brett Kiesel, James Harrison, Big Ben. They still hang out. They shit on each other, too. It's hilarious. They were making fun of James Harrison because of his height. Like Brett Kiesel's a legit 6'5". Big Ben, I swear, sometimes I feel like he's 6'8". He's 6'5", too. And they were talking about his height. It was pissing James off. Like 6 feet tall. I think Brett kind of went easy on. I was like, if you're soaking wet, wearing socks and all that. And then they asked Big Ben, and Big Ben's like, no, he's not 6 feet tall, not even close. In the interview, James, and they're like, and the point of the story is this is the atmosphere that franchise has, and sometimes even Steeler fans, being the dipshits that they are, like myself, we forget that we lose focus on that and not appreciate the fact that there's a community there that have support. That's a beautiful thing. And the success tonight was everyone, even Justin Fields, supporting Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson being in a situation where he's not getting yelled at by Sean Payton. I think that might have helped a little bit for him. I think he was able to maybe get in this and say, "Hey, let me get my feet wet a little bit here. Let me see what I can do. Let me throw the ball where I need to throw it. Let George Pickens get it." Van Jefferson scored a touchdown today. I thought he was never going to catch a ball, let alone catch a touchdown pass. I was watching the Dodger game with more emotion there because I was focused on that. But I did watch the entire game on my split screen, and I would go back and forth. I was surprised. I really was. I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm starting to maybe get a little hopeful if this is what's yet to come. Maybe there's something here. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how the injury situation plays itself out, because boy, had the Steelers dealt with some injuries. Jesus. Not as bad as the Niners. Oh my God, they're falling apart.
Not as bad as the Saints and some of the others teams.
Niners, the thing is, the Saints were never going to compete for a Super Bowl, but geez, the Niners might have just been dealt their last really bad.
Ayuk, yeah, that killed me.
Losing Ayuk is probably going to sink them, and then I would be surprised if Christian McCaffrey is going to be really effective even if he comes back. I think there's going to be fear that's still there that he might hurt himself.
So there's no chance Ohtani will pitch in the World Series.
I don't think so.
Jeremy was asking.
I don't think so. They're not going to risk that because they're going to need arms next year, and that in itself is going to be an interesting scenario. I didn't even mention Ohtani in my discussion about pitchers because a lot of me says I think this next year should be the last time he pitches. 2025 should be the last year.
I still think you know what, and I had this argument with Jamie. I just think he should focus on one end of the spectrum. He's already had one surgery already. I just think it's two. He's had two surgeries already. I just think, you know what, we've seen what he can do when he focuses on one side of the ball. I just think, he should do that.
Again, Gerald, I think something's coming with the way the pitchers are going to be played out at this point. I really believe that the renaissance will be that pitchers aren't going to go past 4 innings. There might be a dual starter setup. If MLB expands the rosters to 30, right now it's 26, 13 pitchers and 13 position guys. If they expand it to 30 and allow 3 of those to be pitchers, let's say, then you're going to see a lot more three inning pitched games by 4 guys, something like that, or half the game, and then a closer or something like that. I think that's good. That's the future. I don't know if it's going to happen immediately now, but I think that's what's coming. But they have to expand. They'll have to expand. You'll have. I was thinking you'd have 6 or 7 starters. Each starter would pitch once a week. I think that would be first. If Ohtani can pitch 4 innings a game every 6th day, I'd take it. I think that wouldn't kill him, being an everyday guy, and you'd be able to have somebody else in there that could DH. I think that would be huge. That would be really, really huge.
But let's hope the Lakers can follow suit and find some magical way to get to where the Dodgers are now, on the verge of a world championship. Goose, we'll see you tomorrow in the fantasy basketball draft on ESPN on 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You can join that draft still. We've still got spots available. Don't forget, you can also become a member. You can already see my in-depth article previewing the Lakers season I gave to members. Plus, almost every panelist has given their season predictions, with one notable exception. I won't name his name, Joe Soro. But again, almost every other panelist has dropped their season predictions, and I've given that a sneak peek to the members before we open up our website here later this week. So looking forward to that. But yes, great having you here. Don't forget, 2+ hours of Lakers Fast Break goodness coming up Monday, which is today, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We're coming on prime time for those on the East Coast. But any last thoughts, Joe, before we head on out? You're on mute.
Did you just ask me that question and I answered it?
I know, and then you went off on a tirade, and not a tirade, but you went off on a tangent, and I was trying to save that Russell Wilson
smack?
conversation.
How about that? Would that be enough of a last second thing?
Only if I could smack you.
No, you're not going to smack me. I'm not going to allow that. But you're going to give me a reason to.
Oh, I'm so scared.
Yeah, I bet you are.
No, I'm not.
You are.
Not shaking a bit.
The last thing I have to say is good night, good fight.
Dodgers in 6?
I want Dodgers in 4.
Well, no, what do you realistically think?
I really don't know.
Okay.
It really will depend on if guys like Freddie Freeman are healthy and Vesia is healthy. If Vesia is healthy to play, as well as Freddie Freeman, I could see them finish in 5.
Okay.
Win the first 2 at home, maybe even win game 3, lose game 4, and then finish it 5. I have to see what the roster is going to be. If Freddie's not there, Bessie is not there, then I can see them winning in
Do they
6.
go back to a 2-2-1-1-1 again?
It's still 2-3-2.
Still 2-3. That's okay. All right. I guess it worked out for the Dodgers this series. So, all right. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We'll be on later today. John Costa, Joe Soro, and hopefully other guests will be there as we preview the NBA season. We will go around the league and also the Lakers as well, previewing the NBA season. Don't forget to become a member. Don't forget to join our fantasy basketball league. And don't forget to catch us each and every time out if you like and subscribe to what we're doing right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Go Dodgers!
Yeah.